Pleasure to welcome you all to the 2023 Morningside Graduate School of Biomedical Sciences award ceremony. It's going to be an absolutely spectacular weekend for all of us, I know, because it's the time of year we get to celebrate the achievements of all of our students and through them, the achievements of our faculty. So I'll have a chance to say a few more words at the very end, but now it's indeed my pleasure to welcome Dean Mary Ellen Lane, the Dean of the Morningside Graduate School of Biomedical Sciences.
All right, thank you everyone. It's wonderful to be back in the Cube. And I want to thank you all for coming, and I want to kick off the day by reminding everyone that we are going to be celebrating not only our graduates and their achievement, but also others who have had notable achievements throughout the year. So I will begin the program by introducing Chancellor Collins, who will present the first award of the day.
Good afternoon, everyone. The Dean is looking at a different weather forecast than I am. He's saying it's going to be an absolutely beautiful weekend. I'm told it's going to be freezing cold and raining on Sunday afternoon, so I don't know. We'll have to hopefully be warm on the inside, yes, for sure. It is wonderful to be together, and irrespective of what it will be outside the tent, I'm sure it will be wonderful inside the tent. In fact, in these ceremonies, I typically give a one or two phrase bite about what I'm thinking about, what I plan to talk about on Sunday, and that is that I believe that our graduates are simply the best, and I plan to expand upon that on Sunday and to encourage you and your families as you now embark upon very ambitious professional careers. It will be a wonderful time. The campus, it looks a little lousy from inside the fence side, but I think all of us, particularly here, should be quite excited about why the green doesn't extend all the way back, although next year we should be right back to where we are. So it's my distinct pleasure now to present the 2023 Morningside Graduate School of Biomedical Sciences Chancellor Award. This is the highest award bestowed upon a member of the Morningside Graduate School of Biomedical Sciences graduating class. And I'm pleased today to present this year's Chancellor's Award to Dr. Christine Carbone. I told her I was just going to say a word about her. She wanted to be sure she should stay there. So congratulations to you. I'm thrilled. I meet with the provost and the dean, and I am given a slate of potential honorees for this award. And I must say that those who advocated for your selection were quite compelling. So during her time at UMass Chan, Dr. Carbone has distinguished herself as an outstanding researcher, a respected student leader, and an engaged community member who regularly took part in volunteer service opportunities within Worcester. Dr. Carbone has established roots in our city. She earned her undergraduate degree in biochemistry from Worcester Polytechnic Institute in 1917, and soon after joined the GSBS. I'm sorry? What did I say, 2017? Yeah. Your science has done wonders. You should get that award. Yeah. All right, let's start that over again. She earned her undergraduate degree at WPI in 2017, and soon after joined the GSBS for her graduate work. In praising that work as a student here, her thesis advisor, Dr. Andrei Korostolev, underscored the fact, and I quote now, that she tackled the fundamental problems of translational control, elucidating how the ribosome functions under stress and normal conditions. The most insightful of Dr. Carbon's findings was that RFB uses two strategies to recognize short and long mRNA substrates. It binds them as a monomer or as a dimer, respectively. Dr. Carbon also utilized a cryo-EM map to show that RFB dimer stabilizes the extra mRNA to allow the catalytic copy of RFB to perform protein release in the peptidyltransferase center. She further found that EFG remains relatively rigid during translation. It is the intraribosomal motion of subunits that enable tRNA-mRNA translation, while EFG works as a roadblock, preventing tRNA-mRNA return to their original positions. Now, if I can get that right, why couldn't I get the age right? You know what I mean? Her work has already been cited 30 times in just a year and a half, and her scholarship has been covered in review articles summarizing the state-of-the-art understanding of translation and methods of time-resolved cryo-EM. All the while conducting novel research, Dr. Carbon served as a peer mentor to rotation students and students writing fellowships, organized numerous Morningside Graduate School and UMass Chan Community Service events, and volunteered for the Science Live Outreach Initiative. Dr. Carbon completed her PhD last fall, at which point she joined Relay Therapeutics in Cambridge as a structural biology scientist. I want to thank you for enriching our academic community. It's a privilege to recognize you as the 2023 recipient of the Chancellor's Award. We look forward to hearing about your future successes in industry. Congratulations very much.
Congratulations, Christine. So our next award is the Dean's Award for Outstanding Thesis Research, and this is given to two graduating students whose research findings in the judgment of the faculty profoundly impacts their field. This year we received several outstanding nominations for the most outstanding thesis research. And I want to acknowledge the many talented nominees we had for this award. It is my feeling, and I think I think this is backed up by data, that we had more nominees this year than I have seen in a long time. And as I was reading through the nominations, I took great pity on the Awards and Recognition Committee for the hard work that they had to do to choose among these outstanding students. So I would like to acknowledge these students and advancing the slide. Oh, do I do that? Me. Oh, that does it. Okay. So the names that you see here. And if you are in the audience, please stand and be recognized. Emily Agnello, Kelly Ann Alexander, Yi Oscar Duan, Sean Agri, Salome Funes, Maureen Hester, Xinchen Liu, Kathleen Morrill, James Shen, Noah Silverstein, Fei Wang, and Huaya Yang. Congratulations to all of you. And at this time, I would like to recognize James Shen and Kathleen Morrill as the 2023 recipients of the Dean's Award for Outstanding Research. I know that Kathleen could not be with us today, but James, if you'll please come forward. And stand by awkwardly while I say nice things about you. James' thesis title is VPS 13D is a regulator of PINK1-mediated mitophagy and membrane contacts, and he has worked under the mentorship of Dr. Eric Baraka. James is an MD PhD student. James' dissertation work established an essential role for VSP13D in membrane interactions that unite autophagy with mitochondrial dynamics in a context of both normally functioning cells and in human disease. And his work provides an important understanding of how mitochondrial clearance and autophagy, which are often studied in isolation, are actually linked. He performed the work in fruit flies leveraging the superior genetic system to understand these biological processes at an organismal, cellular, and molecular level. But he then pioneered a new approach in the Berica lab, which involved testing the relevance of his findings in human disease by studying the conservation of these biological processes in human cells, and specifically cells derived from patients with movement disorders. James, excuse me. James has authored several papers describing this and related work from the Berica lab, but he's also published extensively some clinical work with Dr. T.J. Fitzgerald in radiation oncology. James is described as thoughtful, hardworking, fearless, discovery-driven scientist who challenges himself and everyone around him to be a better scientist. He contributes to the positive environment of the lab through generosity with his time and his knowledge. He's an outstanding communicator who has held a prestigious NIH NRSA fellowship and has given numerous presentations at regional, national, and international conferences. Upon completion of his studies, he will pursue a residency in radiation oncology at Yale. Did I get that right? Congratulations, James. And I would like to say a few words about our other recipient, Dr. Kathleen Morrill, who could not be here. The title of Kathleen's work, The Genomics of Canine Behavior and Its Comparative Relevance to Human Neuropsychiatric Conditions, was done in the research group of Dr. Eleanor Carlson. And Kathleen's dissertation work is an epic investigation of the evolution of behavior in dogs. And she describes new methods that she developed for exploring the connections between genetic variation and behavioral phenotypes. Her work demonstrated that most behavioral phenotypes are heritable, but unlike the physical traits that we associate with various dog breeds, behavioral traits tend to be polygenic and highly variable between individuals. Some of the significance of this finding is it sort of turned on its head the idea that these behavioral breed stereotypes have any relevance at all. Now, last month, she did a further extension of these studies where she took part in the analysis of the DNA of the famed sled dog Balto from the early 20th century, and made some predictions about behavior from the genomic analysis that she did. She is described as a pioneer who independently pushed computational genomics in new directions. She took an innovative community science approach to pair genome-wide association mapping with more than 18,000 pet owner surveys obtained through Darwin's Ark, which is an open source database for owner-reported canine traits. Kathleen's work captured the attention of the popular press, and she brought a lot of attention to the Morningside Graduate School. She is also a 2023 winner of the National Weintraub Award, which is given to graduating students in cellular and molecular biology. She joins our 7, I believe, other Weintraub awardees from among our alums. She has been creative and fearless in challenging conventional wisdom. She brings a collaborative spirit to her work. And following completion of her degree, Catherine took a position at Colossal Bioscience as a senior computational scientist. So congratulations, Kathleen, when you watch the live stream, and we'll see you on Sunday. And we know that we will see Kathleen on Sunday because each year, a member of the graduating class who represents high achievement and community engagement is selected by their peers and by the leadership to deliver a brief commencement address at the ceremony. So we will hear from Kathleen on Sunday, and we look forward to a really great, inspiring address. All right, now, at this time, I would like to acknowledge many other awards that have been earned by our students of many classes throughout the year. And these will be just up on the screen. If you are here and you do hear your name called, please stand and be recognized. The Graduate Student Body Committee established a GSBC Career Development Award that helps students take advantage of a broad range of scientific career development opportunities. This year's awardee is Fang Damon Wang from the Watts Lab. Damon? Okay, next award. Several years ago, we received a gift from the Riccio family to be applied toward travel awards for deserving students to present their work at national conferences. Applications are reviewed by the Awards and Recognition Committee, and recommendations are made to the dean. This year's awardees, again, if you are in the audience, please stand. They are Gaurav Chauhan, Megan Honeywell, Ekaterina Korobkina, Emily Lowry, Karthikeyan, I worked on your name, Panian Selvin, obviously not hard enough, my apologies, and Yuxing Wang. All right, I would now like to recognize members of our graduating MD PhD class who have received the Alpha Omega Alpha Award conferred by the School of Medicine. This year's awardees, again, stand if you are here, Chantal Ferguson, Grace Masters, and Noah Silverstein. Great. All right. Congratulations to all. All right, our next award is the Dean's Award for Outstanding Mid-Thesis Research. And this award is given to a student who is still actively engaged in research, not yet graduating, but whose research findings in the judgment of the faculty and perhaps the universe have had great impact on the field. And at this time, I'm very pleased to recognize Erica Kwiatkowski. So Erica conducts her research in the laboratory of Dr. Patrick Emery. And Erica has single-handedly founded a field. I don't think that there are many of us who can say that about our graduate work. She used the amphipod crustacean Parahyle hawaiianensis. How'd I do? Close enough. Close enough. We're going to go with close enough for the molecular and genetic study of circadial rhythms. The circadial clock controls behavior of organisms that are living in the intertidal zone, allowing them to predictably adapt their physiology and behavior to the 12-ish hour periodicity of the tides. Circadial rhythms follow tides rather than the light-dark cycle, and they're linked to the moon's position in the sky and not the sun, which drives the well-known circadian clock. So Erica tackled the mystery of how circadial behavior might be expressed in parallel with circadian behavior. Her pioneering work represents the first rigorous quantitative characterization of circadial rhythms in an animal, along with a demonstration that the animal also has circadian rhythms and that the two clocks share a common core component. Erica originated this strikingly original project and personally developed the laboratory setup for monitoring circadial rhythmic behavior and single-handedly conducted the first ever CRISPR-Cas genome editing in Parahyle to produce the knockout mutant that was critical to the study. Erica is an exceptional communicator with a remarkable grasp on literature, and she seems to delight in fielding questions. I have witnessed this. She seems to delight in fielding questions that allow her to share her knowledge and enthusiasm for science. Erica brings positivity to her environment, and she's weathered the tumultuous politics of establishing a new field with grace and strength. Erica, congratulations on your excellent work. Next, we're going to recognize a student who has been an outstanding mentor in the classroom and research setting. And this award today goes to Kevin Gao, who unfortunately could not be in attendance today. And Kevin is co-mentored by both Ann Rothstein and Kate Fitzgerald. Kevin's advisors rely on him to guide rotation and early students in their experimental work and skill development. Kevin exemplifies a dedicated work ethic and a polite and respectful tone when asking questions and encouraging others to consider alternative ideas. His fellow students appreciate his generosity and his humility and have learned from his example of how to be focused and persistent. He is generous with his time. He provides scientific advice and technical assistance, but he also provides the psychosocial support that has helped so many of his fellow students succeed through uncertainty and adversity. He challenges everyone to be at their best. Kevin, thanks for helping others succeed. We hope to see you soon. So next I want to recognize the student who has contributed so much to community service leadership. Each year, many students work quietly behind the scenes and in front of the scenes to serve the community in many different ways. And this year we'd like to recognize the gift of time, talent, and effort given by Joseph Magrino. So Joe is a graduating student this year who recently completed his dissertation work in the laboratory of Dr. Brian Kelch. Dr. Kelch calls Joe a fantastic graduate student, both scientifically and as a member of the UMass Chan community, a pillar for the lab, for the department, for the school, and for Worcester. Joe's been a leader with the GSBC student government for several years, since his first year, and has held many leadership positions. He was co-president and had an essential leadership role during the pandemic, where one of the things that he did was organizing all of the online content, including shifting the annual Life After the PhD event to an online format. He also initiated the DNA Repair and Replication Journal Club to help keep his fellow students active and engaged during the research ramp down and beyond. Joe organized peer mentoring, and he's also been a mentor for the PrEP program students. He serves as a question monitor for Science Live, which encourages STEM careers for elementary schools in the local Worcester schools, and he gives lectures and performs experiments with middle school students. Joe was able to contribute so much to the community while also maintaining high productivity in the lab and having scientific impact in his field. He created an outstanding dissertation in a shorter than average time, and he provides an admirable example of the fact that contributions, he provided an admirable example of the contribution, that dedicated service and engagement in the educational mission is an important part of the development of a complete scientist. Joe, thanks for your contributions to the community. Our final award is the Student JEDI Award, and JEDI is an acronym for Justice, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Leadership. This award recognizes a demonstrated record of excellence and achievement in promoting and enhancing justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion in the GSBS community over the academic year. And this year's award goes to Bethany Berry. Bethany is an MD PhD student, currently in her PhD years, working with Dr. Mark Johnson. Bethany just wrapped up her term as a UMass Chan student trustee, and she has also served as president of the Student Government Alliance, the Tri-School Inclusive Excellence Council, and the MD PhD Executive Council. She is very busy. Bethany's been an advocate for growing the diversity of the student body through her involvement with recruitment and for equity in the student experience. She's taken part in the negotiations about health insurance. She's served the GSBS diversity pillar, and she's worked with the Diversity and Inclusion Office to foster equitable practices across schools. Her fellow students see Bethany, and Bethany had so many nominations, all from students. Her fellow students see her really as a driver of positive change, someone who's able to use her leadership roles to amplify the concerns of students from backgrounds underrepresented in science and medicine, and whose efforts have made our community noticeably more welcoming. Bethany, your commitment to your fellow students, your effective advocacy on their behalf has earned you this recognition. Okay, I would like to welcome Provost Flatt briefly to the podium.
Thank you so much. And please let me add my congratulations to all the award winners this afternoon. I asked to speak today to provide just a moment of special recognition to your Dean, Dr. Mary Ellen Lane. I chose today to highlight her accomplishments as she has hit the 5-year mark of serving as your Dean of the Morningside School of Biomedical Sciences. It's unusual for a graduate school dean to be truly transformational, but the times have called for such leadership, and Dean Lane has stepped up masterfully in this circumstance. Furthermore, the achievements of leaders such as Dean Lane are too often overlooked. So to avoid doing that, I'm going to just list a few of the highlights of things that she's accomplished in roughly her first 5 years. And probably some of the faculty have had experiences with this, but probably some of the students have not, either because you have come in beyond the time when some of these have taken effect, or because you've just known it always to be this way. So first, the admissions process has been completely overhauled, resulting in a higher yield of more diverse students while saving greatly on time and resources. Second, she's continued to work with the faculty to evolve the core foundational curriculum to make it more relevant for all the students. Third, the processes around the qualifying exam, student advising, and degree completion have become more standardized and more balanced, as in more student-friendly. Fourth, she's led the implementation of career development resources within the school itself that have provided a national model and which she's represented quite nicely on the national stage as an active member of the AAMC Great Group. Fifth, she's elevated the emphasis on the most overlooked learners in our environment, the postdocs. And finally, she's begun, and this may take another 5 years, but no, I'm just kidding, but she's begun for the first time to define a competency-based framework for graduate learning. She's done all these things with a singular focus on the good of the students, and I have to sincerely thank you for your leadership on that. So before we move on to hear her comments, let me ask you to join me in congratulating Dean Lane for a tremendously successful 5 years and to wish her well for many years into the future.
Thank you, Provost Flatt. I did not have that on my bingo card this morning. So that was a very pleasant surprise. And I appreciate your kind words and the support of the community. Thank you very, very much. And I do want to say that, you know, I have felt from the moment that I stepped into this role that I have had the support of the senior leadership of this institution. And it has been, it's been a tremendous 5 years. So thank you very much. But now I want to go back to talking about you all. And I want to congratulate our graduates, those who are here today, those who will be here Sunday, and those who could not be with us at this time. I want to congratulate all of our honorees, and I want to congratulate all the nominees. And as always, I want to make sure that we congratulate those whose excellence and contributions may have gone unrecognized. I want to state a belief that I hold dear that makes my job a privilege and a calling. And that is that the education that you have now completed at this level of this quality is a gift. You may already know that, or you may be beginning to realize that, or you might dismiss what I just said as administrative PR. But I am confident that over time you will come to see that it is true. But I stress that it's not a gift that you have been given. It is a gift that you have earned. You committed yourself to a goal. You embrace the developmental process. You have persisted through the relentless ups and downs of science, through a global pandemic that created a serious disruption in your plans and progress at a time really when most of you were just kind of hitting your stride. And through all the personal hardships, setbacks, challenges, and losses that I know that many of you have faced. So please take a moment to reflect on everything you've accomplished. And while you may acknowledge with gratitude all that helped and supported you on this journey, I do want you to take appropriate pride in what you yourself have achieved through your own effort, skill, knowledge, and commitment. As I was reading the nominations for the award this week, I was struck by the recurrence of certain words and phrases to describe the attributes and accomplishments of our awardees, whether they were being recognized for excellence in research, service, mentoring, or advocacy. These include, but are not limited to, courageous, curious, willing to question accepted knowledge or practice, ability to bring people together, generosity of spirit and willingness to give and to share with no expectation of return, finding a way forward when faced with obstacles and setbacks, outstanding communication skills, which includes listening and a genuine desire to understand. I have two observations about this. First, I think it says something very positive about our community values, that we mention personal attributes and positive social behaviors when we recognize excellent scientists, and we mention outstanding research contributions and scientific thinking when we recognize excellent mentors, service leaders, and advocates. And second, all of these qualities track well with attributes that contribute to resilience. Now, at this moment, I'm going to break with my usual habit at this time of year of giving you a well-prepared, well-researched talk. We have just ended the well-prepared, well-researched portion of the speech. And we are now moving into whatever this is going to be. But I had decided several weeks ago that resilience was going to be my topic. There's a lot of buzz around the word. The NIH thinks it's actually really important for scientific training. It is, there's a lot of TikTok memes about resilience being a differentiator of generations. I don't accept that, by the way, but it's out there. So I did start reading up on the subject so that I could present to you this comprehensive, well-researched speech, but a few things got in the way. One is the propensity of academic institutions to make everything happen between like April 20th and June 1st. And the other is adverse life events. So I'm going to be a little bit off the cuff, but one of the things that I learned at the beginning of my reading, which also contributes to not finishing the speech, is that there is a lot of controversy in the field of resilience, okay? There's a lot of disagreement and lack of consensus about what it means, what it is, who has it, who doesn't, why, and how to get more, right? So I'm gonna do what many of us do when we are faced with opposing views and we don't take the time to research them. I'm going to go with the one that mirrors my personal beliefs. One of the questions is resilience a trait or an outcome? I believe it's an outcome. Is it common or rare? I actually believe the research that suggests that it is in fact quite common, that most of us can achieve resilience. Now, this is the fun part, okay? There's been a lot of exploration about things like meditation and mindfulness practice, religion and spirituality, consumption of psychoactive compounds, whether they promote or impede resilience, and the answer is yes, okay? Which tells you really something about the lack of consensus. The popular conception of resilience, that it is the ability to bounce back quickly from adversity overcome obstacles, and persist in the face of hardship. I am personally quite uncomfortable with that definition, and actually people who actually work on this subject, some of them are also uncomfortable as well. What I don't like about that is that it sets the expectation that the norm is to get over it, preferably quickly and completely, okay? I am more comfortable with the idea that resilience is about moving forward in the face of adversity. It's a little vague, but I think the blessing comes in that vagueness. Now, it is estimated, I read an estimate, that 90% of all humans will face profound loss, adversity, unfairness, health challenges, or negative events. I cannot imagine that that is not an underestimate. I think it is probably closer to 100%. And many know all too well that these hardships don't come in equally portioned packages at well-spaced intervals, okay? I know some of you well enough to know that you have faced major life-disruptive events, either before or during your time here. And today we are celebrating your achievements. Okay, so you are resilient, even if you think you're not, even if you wish you had more of it. And I want to encourage you not to measure your resilience against anybody else's by how fast you got over something or how completely you got over something or whether you changed your plans in response to some adversity. The important thing is actually moving forward. I suspect that each of you have achieved resilience very differently, and that one of the reasons why scientists who study this can't agree whether you should go to church, do yoga, or drink wine with your friends is because everyone's path forward is different. Everyone's timing is going to be different. Everyone's hardship and the context for moving forward is going to be different. There's no clock. You've heard me say that in a number of contexts, but I want to say it here. And there's no formula. Sometimes moving forward will not mean overcoming obstacles, but rather changing direction, forging a new path, and sometimes even evaluating your goals. So I want to encourage you to take the approach to hardship like a scientist, okay? And what I mean is not like the stereotype cartoon scientist who gets hyper-focused on technical details and esoterica and blocks out anything having to do with emotions or human relationships, but not even like us, real scientists, on our bad days, when we vacillate between chaotic jumping into frantic action before we've even defined what the problem is, and curling up on the floor wallowing in hopelessness at the futility of it all. I want you to be like the ideal scientist, though, like the way we are all on our best days when we are doing our best work. Be unbiased and fully curious so as to understand the real problem that needs to be solved. Thoughtfully and intelligently define the work that you need to do to move forward. Engage in fearless, honest self-assessment so that you know what knowledge, skills, and resources you have in your possession to help solve the problem, okay? Build the relationships that you can rely on so that you can collaborate with others for what is beyond your capacity to do alone. And remember that it's an iterative process that sometimes takes a few tries and sometimes requires a redirection of effort. And finally, keep your expectations realistic. So I know that the education that you got here, the scientific thinking, the communication, the leadership skills, and the professional relationships that you've developed will serve you well in your future careers. And it is my sincere wish and hope for you that your education and experience here at the Morningside Graduate School of Biomedical Sciences will also serve you well in every aspect of your life. Congratulations, and please feel free to join us for some refreshments and perhaps some resilience building after the event.